I had went to a cool bookstore. And so what I wanted to do is I really wanted to take a moment to lean in this into this book this month. So each week we're going to be pulling out different chapters just to really think about how we're showing up as Black folks. So in this space this month, in honor of Black History Month, we're going to be just thinking about all of the ways that we show up for ourselves. So thinking about our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and how we're showing up in our healing. And so one of the things that I really, really like about this book, Black People Breathe, is that I think that Zee Clarke does a really good job of reminding us to be more present in our bodies. And that is something that we're constantly talking about in the space. How do we be more present in our bodies? Unfortunately, because of the history of our ancestors, we have been conditioned to be in survival mode. We have been conditioned not to be present with ourselves, not because we didn't want to, but because it was not a luxury. It was not safe for us to be able to slow down. It wasn't safe for us to be relaxed and to be present, because often our survival, required us to be hyper vigilant. So always on edge, always on aware and ready to run, to respond, and to do. So what we want to do is I want to pull out a couple chapters and lean into the space and just kind of do our thing, okay? So as always, we always start with checking in with ourselves. So just doing one big cleansing breath. So breathing into our bellies and then releasing. And in one word, how are we arriving in the space? You can say it aloud or either in the chat. How are we arriving? So I would say I'm excited. I'm feeling good. We got some Miles Davis playing, Kind of Blue. I love this album. It's very relaxing, but it's also stimulating at the same time. But yeah, I'm feeling good. How's everybody?
Rachel said calm today.
Calm today? Okay.
Mhm.
I'm excited for it because I think this is much needed for our people.
Courtney said, I feel good.
You feel good? Hey, Courtney. Okay. So the prompt for today, this is going to anchor us into our practice. We are thinking about what has self-love been taught to look like for you, and what does your body actually need instead? So we're anchoring into what has self-love been taught to look like for you, and what does your body actually need instead? And some of y'all know we always going back to that question. What do you need? What do you need? Right? I'm always begging y'all to ask ourselves, what do you need? Right? So this is the prompt that we're leaning into. So write that down, take note of it, and put that aside. What has self-love been taught to look like for you, and what does your body actually need? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're starting off with chapter 11, and I love this chapter. So chapter 11 in Black People Breathe is a journey to self-love. And one of the quotes that she uses in this chapter is by Toni Morrison, "You are the best thing," right? So she reminds us that self-love for Black people is not just a feeling, it's a practice, right? So we talk about being in the practice of the practice. And this is something that we have not been taught to build. This is something that most people have to be intentional about, leaning into self-love and practicing things. But for Black folks, this is just not something that we were taught. What does it really mean to take a vacation? This vacationing is a new phenomenon, right? This is y'all grandmamas, auntie them, they ain't grow up going on vacation like that. Not really, okay? So again, you are the best thing. This is a powerful quote that she references by Toni Morrison. So when we think about you are the best thing, that can feel unfamiliar, right? It can feel weird to receive love from other people, but especially to receive love from yourselves. So when we talk about leaning into self-love, when we talk about leaning into self-compassion, oftentimes I have to go back to the example of if you had one of your good girlfriends or one of your homeboys that was going through a trying time, what would you offer to him? Would you sit with him in silence? Would you go over and fry some chicken and drink a beer? Would you go for a walk? What would you do? And then when you are able to take a moment and reflect on the trying times that you have been through, you had a rough day at work or a rough week at work, right? When you think about all the things that you experienced, and if that was a friend, whatever you will offer them, turn that back into yourself. And for many of us, it's difficult to do because, again, we are conditioned to just keep moving, to keep going. So Zee Clarke talks about us rebuilding or building or rebuilding a relationship of self-love just through practice. So first, what does a relationship with yourself mean to you? What does that look like? And how do you build a practice of engaging in this? Okay. So it doesn't have to be grand gestures. It doesn't have to be performative or have a lot of pageantry. It can just be small acts of kindness. I'm going to make myself breakfast this morning. I'm going to drink some tea, right? I'm going to drink some warm water and whatever that is, just small acts of kindness and small acts of love to ourselves. So these the routines are not about productivity. We're not trying to be super productive because we know that we can be productive. This is just really about slowing down and allowing yourself to tend to yourself, telling yourself that you matter, right? And I give myself permission to care for myself when my body needs it. So we're thinking about things, and this is one thing that she talked about, how are ways you can build practices of self-love. And this is an exercise that we kind of do in the office, but I want to show y'all the chart because it's so cool. So it just breaks it down into, can y'all see this? Okay. Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit? Okay. Let me get closer. So it's just a little chart where she's breaking down like intentional morning routines, afternoon routines, or even those evening routines, right? So sometimes I'll have my clients like, put reminders in your phone. In the morning, what are some ways that you can, lean into caring for yourself? Some folks like to have like that coffee. Can you see it? You got it? It's
Here, let me see.
Some
Yeah.
folks they have like a coffee or a tea ritual. I'm always drinking tea, but I love always starting my day with warm water and lemon. Sometimes you have to take that pause, at lunch or during the work week. I'm always building in like those mindful minutes in between sessions. And sometimes if I forget, thank goodness for Nick, because he'll tell me like, yeah, you need to take you need to take a second because you're doing too much right now. I need you to clear your energy or whatever you need to do for the evening. So when we talk about those transition rituals, especially when you're going from work to home, transitioning into, clearing the energy or clearing the space of whatever you have taken in during the day, imagining yourself washing those things off so that you can go into your home and be present the way that you need to, okay? So I want to take a minute, and before we move into the breath work and the somatic exercise, I just want to open up the floor for any discussions for what may be coming up for you for what we've talked about so far. Any identifications about gaps and how you love yourself? Does self-love feel unsafe, or does it feel selfish, or maybe even unavailable to you? What does your body look like and feel like when you're engaging in self-love practices? Or how does it feel when y'all hear that phrase, you are the best thing? I love that. I love that quote from Toni Morrison because it reminds me of, how we always say, you have everything inside of you to heal, to grow, and to make the decisions that you want to make. And sometimes it doesn't seem like we're capable, but we actually are more capable than what we think. So what's coming up for y'all?
So my journey with self-love was kind of hard in the beginning because it did make me feel selfish, like taking time off, not tending to my kids or not being so available to everybody. Kind of like that was my life. So it was hard for me to like really like dive into this, whatever it was. If it was just taking a day of not answering the phone or actually spending money on me instead of my kids or other people. So at one point in time, self-love for me was just hard because I felt like I'm being selfish, like I'm not at everybody's beck and call and people really need me. And how can I turn people away when they need me and not think I need me? I need to be functioning in the best state for me in order to show up for anybody. So self-love in the beginning was really hard for me to do.
Mhm. Yeah. It's really interesting how we can be naturally inclined to do for other people. And then when it's time to do something for yourself, you be like, oh, you know what? I can rock this little raggedy bra out for another 2 months and because so-and-so needs some shoes or whatever. Like I think naturally as caregivers, whether you are, you have birthed a child through your own body or not, if you are naturally a caregiver, if you have been parentified, your whole life, meaning that you have had to be a parent before it was your choice, it's easy for you to put other people forward and feel like I can go without. Or if we think about, because we have been conditioned to just be like work mules, essentially, sometimes we can feel like we don't deserve rest. Like, oh, why am I tired? I didn't even walk that far. I shouldn't even be tired. It's okay. I can keep moving. So feeling like you deserve the pauses, feeling like you deserve to treat yourself, right? After you have worked so hard and earned money, or just because you worked hard and you do deserve good things.
Sophia said, at times feels unavailable and selfish in a fast-paced world where social standards of self-care and love can look different, especially when putting others first is more socially accepted.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
Michelle just joined in.
Yeah. But yeah, I think a lot of us feel that way. You feel like it's unavailable. It feels like, self-care and self-love is unavailable. And so one of the things that we do here on the wellness check is that we really focus a lot on our breath, right? So one of the things that Zee Clarke talks about is the practice of self-love starts with the relationship with self. And when we think about our breath and even what it can mean spiritually to folks, having that relationship with your breath, knowing how it feels in all situations is so important, because if we don't have anything else, if we can't buy ourselves flowers, if we can't get that, nice bag or whatever, we can take a moment and say, let me just be intentional about my breath and understanding how healing it is, how energizing it is to your body, and how it actually can calm you down. So in those moments where you feel like it's not available to you, in those more grand ways, just understanding like if you don't have anything else, you can love yourself by being intentional with your breath. Okay. Anything else coming up for y'all? What happened to the music? What happened to the mouse?
I'm not sure.
Oh man. Okay. Anything else coming up for y'all?
Y'all are free to share aloud.
Mine was similar with the other two attendees said, just, not making time and feeling selfish, like, oh, my kids need me, but I need me. Um, yeah, pretty much the same. Keep going, don't stop. Like, that's really what resonated with me. Like, our ancestors weren't able to do that. And sometimes I've expressed that to you before, Michelle, that sometimes that's how I feel, like, oh, I got to keep doing this. I got to keep working this job, keep doing this side hustle. And it's like, okay, I just want to rest though. And then when I rest, it's like, oh no, but you got this to do and this to do. So it's just like, yeah.
Anyone else?
So even with what Marie just said, I want to take you guys back to that original anchor prompt that we said. So we said, what has self-love been taught to look like for you, and what does your body actually need?
Taught, if you're referring to like taught as a child, as a teen, as someone in my early 20s, it wasn't taught to me. Like I never seen that growing up, being raised by my grandparents. Even when my mom did come back around, like I never, like my mom would do little acts of kindness for herself. But like for sure with my grandma, like I never seen that even to this day, and she 90. Like I be telling her, like, you need to go and do that and treat yourself to this. Like before she used to use my grandpa as an excuse, but it's like now he's gone and you can do stuff for yourself and she still doesn't. And what does my body need? Self-love, me knowing what my body needs first is me being able to recognize that and then actually being able to give myself that, whether it's time alone, whether it's partaking in something like this or going to therapy or just having a moment alone to myself, or even if it is maybe I might need a hug, going to my kids, getting a hug or something like that.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's interesting too. I'm listening to you, but I'm also processing at the same time. But when I think about, when I growing up, my mom, she did a really good job of modeling what caring for yourself means. Like she always self-preservation. It's all about self-preservation. So, she was very intentional about that. But when I think about when I actually went out into the world, when I became a social worker, and that word self-care was always thrown out there. And this is something that I talk about quite a bit. But you need to take a bath and you need to do all these things that seemed very fluffy the way that they were presented. And, naturally we know that women and men, we take baths and we put certain ingredients in our water because we want to take care of our skin, which is the largest organ. But then for women, because of reproductive health, we want to be just taking baths and soaking. Like naturally, that's the thing. But when I think about some of the other ways that we were taught to engage in self-care, it wasn't what my body needed. When I was triggered, as a young social worker and as a young therapist with, different situations that I entered into, having a bath or just doing these things that, light a candle, those things in that moment were not what my body needed to calm my central nervous system and to be present enough in my body to feel what my body needed. And so when we think about, the one part Zee Clarke saying, self-love starts with having a relationship with yourself. Having a relationship with yourself is having a relationship with your body and identifying what safety needs in your body. And depending on your experiences, if you have had traumatic experiences from physical abuse to sexual assault, or if you came from a very strict religious household and it was a lot of body shaming, you may not feel a level of safety in your body. And so you have to work with yourself to to be able to feel safe and know what that means for you specifically. And then so we talk about what that self-awareness and then self-acceptance and then the knowing, what do I need to put, in place to be successful based on how I'm uniquely made. Once you have that relationship with your body and you have the relationship with your breath and you can feel what your body needs, then you can move forward in acts of kindness and acts of self-love. But until you get to that point, we are just kind of grasping at straws like, oh, this seems like self-love, or so-and-so, the magazine said that I'm supposed to do it this way. But when you lean back into that question that we're always asking folks in the practice, like, what do I need? Or in this particular situation, what does your body actually need instead? That really helps you to move the needle an inch closer to whatever self-love means specifically for you. So I want y'all to really when we, disconnect today, I want you guys to sit with that anchor, what has self-love been taught to look like for you, and what does your body actually need instead? And Nick, can look at number 3 where the prompt is, and can you send it? I'm gonna have Nick send it in the chat just in case y'all didn't catch it.
Okay.
I've also added the picture of the chart in the book in the chat, so download it for your reference.
Like if you need like a launching pad. Did I hear someone else about to chime in before we move into releasing some of this energy?
Yes, I was gonna chime in and say, my mom was to me, I feel like she's very good at giving herself self-love. Maybe not like going to the spa or like that, but she always give herself time to be alone, to do things that she likes. So I felt like that was good growing up seeing that. And she liked to travel. So that was a way of saying, okay, I like to travel. I want to go do this and go do that. And for me, I recently was like sad, and I just allowed myself to cry and then rest because I felt like my body needed to release the emotions of my sadness at the time. And I was okay with it. Like I wasn't upset, like, oh my God, why are you crying? Talking to myself. And I was just like, it's okay to be sad. It's okay to get rest for myself. And I really been doing good with doing different stuff, like maybe I do like journaling, or I might just sit and not listen to any music or any sound and just sit with myself and my thoughts in silence. So I do have to say I've really been growing in how I handle myself. And I taking off of work for like the next 3 weekends and having 7 days off in between because I felt like I'm overwhelmed with schooling and working, and I just need some time to myself after I get out of class. So I make sure I set that up for myself.
That's good. I'm so happy to hear. I'm so happy to hear, right?
Yes.
And it made me, I mean, rest is necessary, but I know you guys are familiar with that book, Rest is Resistance. And so when we think about, what we're focusing on this month and how we have been conditioned to be in survival mode, how we have been conditioned not to feel comfortable with taking those pauses, and we had not had the luxury of being safe in our bodies. And now we are changing that narrative, right? That has been conditioned, that actually lives in our cells because it's been passed down from our ancestors. But when we think about that part, resisting what we have been conditioned to become, like we have been conditioned to be slaves, to be workers, right? And that is not sustainable for life. That's actually, it's not healthy for us to push through the overwhelm, for us to push through the exhaustion all the time. It's just not sustainable, and that's not the natural way of life. So I'm happy to hear all of those things. So as we move towards the closing today, so I want us to move into our breath work and our somatic practice, okay? So I want you guys to go ahead and start to get comfortable wherever you are. Put the reflection in the chat for me.
Did you guys see the weekly reflection prompt?
Yes.
3.
Yeah, so just take that with you. Okay. So go ahead and get comfortable wherever you are. And just allow for yourself to fall into the normal pattern of your breath. So you can close your eyes or soften your gaze. And just allow for yourself to breathe in and breathe out. Just simply noticing the air coming in to your belly, traveling up your chest cavity, and then releasing that from your nose and from your mouth. Just simply notice your breath. Feel your own breath. So as we move into the breath work, I want you to invite yourselves to carry whatever came up for you this session. Just place it in your mind, not trying to change it. And just continue to breathe. Noticing how your breath feels in your body and what it offers you on the inhale. Just noticing what you're able to let go of on that exhale. Just let it all go. So today's breath practice is going to be returning to self. So on that next inhale, I want you to inhale deep into your belly. Hold. And release. Inhale again deep into your belly. And hold. Now release. I want you to stay here for 4 more breaths. And remembering on each inhale, you're returning to self. So inhale into your belly. And hold. Now release. Inhale again for me into your belly. Hold. Now release the tension. Inhale. Hold. And release. Do that one more time for me. You're going to inhale into your belly. Hold. And release. Just continue to breathe. Keeping into your mind, you are the best thing. You have everything inside of you to heal, to live, and to love. I want you to place one hand on your chest and then the other hand on your belly. And just continue to breathe. On the inhale, I want you to roll your shoulders up to your ears. And on the exhale, roll your shoulders down and release. So inhale up. Exhale, release. Inhale up. Exhale, release. 2 more times. Inhale up. Exhale, release. 1 more time. Inhale. Exhale, release. Just allow for yourself to fall back into the normal pattern of your breath. Taking in a few more breaths of healing. So breathing in the love, the healing, and the presence on the inhale. And on the exhale, release any tension or self-doubt. And whenever you're ready, just allow for yourself to come back to the space. Keeping the energy of you are the best thing. Whenever you're ready, just simply say, I'm ready, aloud or in the chat. Okay, so how was that for you guys?
It was great.
So I'm gonna have Nick put that reflection card in the chat for you guys if you don't already have one. So when we end today, you can carry that with you if it feels aligned. But one thing I want you guys to think about is, what is one small routine or movement or act of self-love that you can offer yourself this week? And our closing affirmation is, I am the best thing. My body deserves care. And self-love starts with listening. Listening to your breath. So I am the best thing. My body deserves care. And self-love begins with listening to my breath. All right.
MK said it was good. Felt tension leaving the body. Rachel said that helped me to be in a calm place. And then Sophia said, great, definitely can be difficult by yourself, but a good guided breathing moment helps a lot.
I'm glad. Thank y'all for sharing. Thank y'all for sharing. But most importantly, thank you for showing up for yourselves, right? I'm proud of you. I love y'all. I'm so happy to see that you took this moment to pause, right? So this was an act of self-love. This was an act of resistance. And I hope that, whatever you got from today, that you're able to carry it with you until we see you again next week. But if anything comes up between now and then, I think most of you have my contact. You can email me or call me, and I got you. Okay.
MK said, thank you so much.
Yes.
Rochelle says,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And as you know, I send out the weekly reminders. If in the event we decide to cancel Wednesday Will Check, you will get that notification in the email as well.
Yeah, or check the Instagram page. I know I got to do better at that, but yeah, either email or IG will let you guys know. But we'll see y'all next week.
All welcome. Bye.
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 That one was the shit.
It was.